J-Biggs, my friend, we just got done watching night one of WrestleMania 37 as part of WrestleMania Week 2021, The Grind. It was a crazy show for so many different reasons.
Right.
From start to finish. First of all, crowds. They're back. We saw them there. Thousands of people. Well, actually, no. Before even that, the rain delay. Or the fact there was a storm and people had to evacuate. And we didn't know if it was going to start on time. And it ultimately didn't. They went on air. They started at 5 p.m. sharp.
Right.
But then they said there's a rain delay. And that's historic.
It's the closest thing to an indie show WWE's ever done.
Yeah, something, act of God causing it. But isn't that wild, though? For the first time in WrestleMania history, there's a weather delay.
Right. Almost had one at the start of WrestleMania 24.
Yeah, I'm amazed that for as many times as they've done open-air stadium shows in Florida, this is the first time it's really been an issue. And, they dodged a bullet in New York, as we can attest to. There was rain, just not during the show.
Right. I love that line from Byron Saxton where he's like, well, we waited this long, what's a few more minutes?
Right, of course. On the first WrestleMania back with an audience, we gotta wait a little bit longer because there's this rain delay. And so how does WWE cover for this? But honestly, I gotta tip my cap to the company for being able to scramble, because we know how meticulous they plan things and script things,
right?
Especially WrestleMania. So they gotta fly by the seat of their pants and they gotta do some of this. They gotta stretch for time while this rain delay keeps going. And you've got almost 35 minutes of announcer insight and commentary and promo after promo after promo.
So for a long time, fans wanted those unscripted promos, and we finally got them.
Exactly. Yeah, wasn't that crazy? All these guys, it was their moment to shine here.
Right, it was.
It was, Morrison and Miz. Well, the first sequence was amazing because it was Shane talking for a bit. Then MVP and Lashley come in. Shane leaves. Then Drew comes in. MVP and Lashley leaves. Drew gets to talk. It's like this.
Right, it was a little bit weird.
No, it was. I thought it was so brilliant. I
mean, it was brilliant, but it was just. It was like the carnival or the circus coming by of everything.
It was amazing. And you could just tell they were told just go out there, go as long as you can, riff, just do whatever. They were doing some brilliant stuff. Those promos, they all came from the heart. They felt organic. They felt authentic. What terrified me as the show began was, what if we get another rain delay? During the show.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, what's going to happen, if tomorrow the rain persists and they got to delay it, or midway through the show, they got to stop? That would be so weird, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan finally start the show after... Well, there were a lot of beginnings on this show. There was Vincent Mann doing a speech.
Right.
There was the video package. There was the... Hey, we got to wait a while.
Yeah.
And then when that all got cleared up... And we got one shot of Raw announce team in ponchos at one point.
Yeah.
No, it was Smackdown. It was some combination of people. Why didn't they shoot the lights? Every time you watch a football game or a baseball game with rain delay, you cut to the stadium lights, you see all the rain come down. That would have been an amazing visual. We didn't get it though.
They were in the back. They were trying to get the graphic made.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the rain was the biggest heel of the night. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan start the show. They're the hosts, I guess. You don't see them do anything.
They just did some really cheesy ass lines, and that was it.
It was pretty. It's what. It was already awkward enough. These two are going to be co-hosts together. But then what are you going to do with them? If they're going to do that, they got to go balls to the wall and just let that out. Just let it all out there,
Right,
just,
I guess so.
Acknowledge the elephant in the room. WWE Championship, Bobby versus Drew, and I thought that I wouldn't have been surprised if they went a Goldberg match route, where it was just
quick.
Right, because after all that delay, the fans are just antsy, and they want something.
Right.
So give them, as cheap as it would have been, I would have understood if they had just big move, and then finish. Yeah. Something like that, just to start off hot. But no, we didn't get that. But so the match went a while, and I think that was kind of to the detriment, because the rain and the false start kind of killed the crowd.
Right. Absolutely did. And that's the weird thing about it is like I was telling you, Brian, before we started the review here, it's almost just felt flat.
Yeah.
And then to have the heel win the opening match, I mean, I don't know, it just kind of was a weird sequence to make everything kind of die down. It finally started picking back up once the Omos match happened.
Well, no, and I think as far as the match itself went, the fans really woke up just as it was getting good.
Well, right, towards the end.
And it was a full-length match. It was fine, but the crowd just wasn't into it, because it's hard to cheer for anything when you're soaking wet. Again, about the rain in New York, I was elated when the train finally showed up and let us in there, but I didn't have the strength to go, woohoo! you about it?
Right.
Because I was soaked and miserable, so how do the Florida fans feel?
Right, exactly.
And then the finish really put a cramp in my style for this one, because Drew's ready for the Claymore, and MVP just goes, Bobby! He was yelling, and that distracts Drew, but it stops him. Damn distracts.
And like you said, anything. Throw the cane in. Something.
Yeah, it was like, him yelling. And he's surrounded by thousands of screaming fans, but MVP right there is the one who distracts him. And then that's enough for Lashley to get the hurt lock in, and he doesn't tap out, though. They protect him in that way, but boy, he looked stupid, flinching for MVP.
And they've protected him this whole year, made him look really smart, so it's
that was the dumbest he'd looked ever in this push. Like, he has been built so just Teflon, indestructible, always able to bounce back from anything. I think we were all collectively here in the house just so giddy over how wild that show began.
Right.
Like, it was going to be hard for the match itself to impress.
Well, it's like I said, I don't care if they go on at 1 o'clock. Those people, the wrestlers are not leaving. They're too hype. Everybody's too hyped. It's still going to happen.
And Mania weekend, a lot of the fans who are there anyway are used to shows starting way later than they're supposed to.
This is true.
I think in that opening half hour with the rain delay, WWE kind of spent all their backstage segment tokens, because I believe this is like the only one we had tonight. And this next one with the NWO all in their gear. Hogan's already changed his shirt once since he's been out there, and then Titus O'Neil is also hanging out. Just a bunch of old guys in NWO shirts just talking in a line. And then Bayley shows up. I mean, I think it's a crime that Bayley didn't get booked in a match this year, but we see her here, and then we see her later tonight. And I want to see a recurring thing where we see her tomorrow as well.
Just kind of
pops up.
She's more of a host than O'Neil and Hogan.
Exactly. Yeah, because later tonight she shows up and she interrupts the toss to the Hall of Fame package. She does more as a host, than the hosts of WrestleMania. Up next, a women's tag team turmoil match to see who will face Shayna and Nia the following night. Your first two teams are Lana and Naomi, and then Carmella and Billie Kay. And Cole, he says the quiet part loud on commentary. He says, Carmella and Billie Kay, a makeshift tag team. They're thrown together for this.
Right.
Matt, just tell us how you really feel.
Right.
That's how it felt to everyone else, I think.
That was like some JRAW commentary right there.
It's when you just don't care.
I'll tell you right now, Owen Hart's, woo! I'm the winner. Because I actually predicted this one. I actually predicted this one.
And you did it all by your sweet little self,
yes,
too.
I did.
Yes,
I did.
Tamina and Natalya ended up winning this thing. And I think I was kind of surprised by how they did it, too, where Natalya... Well, first of all, you got to give credit to the Riot Squad. I think they were the kind of ones that were there the longest in this thing. Lana and Naomi, it's pathetic how they waste Naomi, in my opinion. And so it was just like, see you in like a minute or whatever. They were the first ones gone. Riot Squad did really well in this one. Then you've got the end where Tamina is the one who does the Superfly splash at the end. I thought that was going to cost them.
I know, and that's Tamina's. That's the biggest win in Tamina's WWE history
ever. Can you think of a bigger moment for Tamina at this point?
No, I can't.
No,
I can't. Well, maybe tomorrow night.
Yeah, right. It could be, but it was shocking because I thought when Natalya stopped the sharpshooter and had Tamina go, you see where that's going.
Right, you're like, it's going to cost them.
Yeah, that's a moment that actually happened a couple of times. And we'll get to the second time a little bit later.
Right.
But yeah, Tamina and Natalya win. The match, this wasn't too much to write home about. Of all the matches tonight, which I thought mostly were entertaining, this one did the least for me. Also gotta say, Mandy Rose was the first casualty of the slippery ramp. Did you notice that?
Yes, you did do a little slip on our way out there.
Yes, Matthew licking his chops as soon as he sees that happening. We're gonna have some clips in there, I'm sure, in the next one. Up next, Seth Rollins taking on Cesaro. I say Cesaro. That's my name for him now.
Cesaro.
Seth Rollins is making it work for me. I mean, he's making the suits work. He's making Cesaro work. So that's
what the heck.
What did you think? Because this is the first time you saw that political ad, right?
I thought it was brilliant. I like it. I like the direction it's kind of taken his character.
When we first saw Seth doing Embrace the Vision, I thought it was going to be some weird, Steve Jobs kind of thing. But I think it'd be funnier if it turned into more of a political thing. We did see a wrestler do a political gimmick last year with MJF. That was way before the election, and now way after the election, we're going to have Seth doing maybe more political ads. I would love that, actually. Oh yeah, and also did you notice that Seth Rollins? They're really leaning into the political thing too. Did you know Seth's tights have the Hope thing, like the Obama stuff? Let's turn the clock all the way back to 2008, baby.
Yeah, and turn back the clock they did on this one, Brian, because there was a lot of ROH involved in this match. It felt like, anyways.
Yeah, some spots that were reminiscent of the ROH days, where things that don't bust out much.
Right. What was his name in the Indies? Cesaro's. It was
Claudio Castagnoli.
And Tyler Black. So yeah, they had a lot of battles.
There was a twisting splash that we never see Rollins do.
Yes, yeah, like a downward spiral or something of some sort.
It was crazy, and then there was the UFO, the move that Cesaro was spinning around off the shoulders. It was really fun to watch. It was like, yeah, this was a very clean, very exciting match. I mean, Cesaro from the gate did the uppercut to start the match, and I immediately woke the crowd up.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd was down for, like, Lashley Drew, for the women's tag, and this one, they're immediately into it.
Well, on the predictions, I said this might be the sleeper of the whole WrestleMania, so, I mean, we'll see. And it delivered. As far as a match, I was very excited the whole way through.
Yes. I think that in a show or at a night where there was a lot of gaga, I would argue that this was probably the best pure wrestling match of the entire night. I thought he was going to go for 37 to commemorate WrestleMania 37, right? There's 23 consecutive spins, a second neutralizer to win. And I mean, what a match and what a moment for Cesaro. What was your takeaway about Cesaro winning here?
Good God, please don't screw this up again. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have another chance. You have another chance here since WrestleMania 30, much like, you know, with the Daniel Bryan storyline, you know, how odd is that too? You know, I mean, like, they have another chance at that. So, I mean, don't screw this up.
We see the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Rudolph. They retained the belts the previous night. Dolph Ziggler's got studs in his hair. They're talking about how great they are. And speaking of tag teams, with the Raw Tag Title matchup next, AJ Styles and the debuting Omos challenging the New Day here. Omos throwing up, X gonna give it to you. By the way, rest in peace DMX. And AJ slips on the stage. He's the second casualty of the wet stage.
Right.
They tease Omos at the beginning, but not yet. Walk me through what you saw in this matchup as we were going on with it.
I mean, I saw them basically cutting off and effectively doing like a handicap match most of the match until Omos finally got that you know hot tag, I guess.
I mean, it was hot. I think after what they built to it, and even Xavier loudly saying, "We are effectively cutting the ring in half." Like it was, it was an interesting story because like for a match where the New Day are clearly the baby faces, they kind of acted like heels this whole thing. Because the payoff, the crowd loved it. Like, AJ and Omos are definitely the heels here, but Omos finally gets that tag after minutes of being taunted by the New Day. And they were kind of bullying in a way.
Yeah.
Omos tags in and just destroys Xavier and Kofi. Right. The single foot up top. Actually, before there's a great moment where AJ does a phenomenal forearm off of Omos' shoulders.
Yeah, that looked good.
That was great. And the moment of when AJ's about to tag out to Omos because Xavier's up top, and they just look at each other. There's like that high drama there where AJ's I got you now. And the crowd's totally into it. And I think the reason that they cheered everything here, not just because the story just felt you want to cheer for AJ and Omos. Again, I think it's just that vibe of the crowd being there.
Right.
I think that I think the crowd in general just elevated my feelings about this show for the whole thing. What are your thoughts? Did the live crowd help you enjoy the show?
It did and didn't. Because you could see like a few people in the front, like 5 rows it seemed like. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the stadium was blacked out.
That was interesting to see.
Yeah, I like it, and for the LEDs it's visually more appealing maybe or something. But it would have been kind of cool to see how the scattered crowd was or something at least. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I mean like it was there and it was cool. But, I mean, I don't know.
Watching this back, and saying, oh, it's WrestleMania with the crowd. Awesome. It's really cool to see that. But then, within minutes, I just kind of felt, okay, this feels normal again. Because I think the Thunderdome and the canned audience noise, as cheesy as it was, kind of made that a normal transition.
Right, it did. It absolutely did. Because you remember when it first started, that's what I was saying. I was like, why don't they green screen in a crowd or you know what I mean, make some sort of fake crowd noise? Because they're going to push who they're going to push anyways. You might as well just put the fan cheering with who they want it to be.
Can you imagine had they stuck with the Performance Center in that original empty incarnation all year before just jumping into Mania?
Yeah, it would have been Impact Wrestling.
It would have been a weird change. So at least the transition from Thunderdome style to live crowd felt a bit smoother to me. But yeah, the blacked out seating on the outside was definitely different because usually they light all that in big, they bathe it in this red blinding light, literally. Because I remember we were turn the lights off chant.
The Orton match.
Yeah, exactly. It was they didn't have that. They just didn't want to show you, and they had cardboard cutouts in the crowd we could see. But that was a very clever way to get around that, I think, for a show with a minimal capacity compared to what they normally would do.
Right.
But back to the original topic, because we did get a bit sidetracked. What do you think of AJ and Omos as the tag champs? That felt like it was kind of academic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was both of our prediction, I think, right? And I mean, we didn't get that springboard 450. I was hoping that AJ taught him.
Wouldn't that have been? No, he does the back of the moonsault into the DDT.
Right. Oh dear God. Oh, bad thoughts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like obviously what they're going for with Omos, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do in the future with him.
Yeah, how they're gonna keep building these matches over time, because like Omos did a lot with very little. He was just like I think they used him the exact right way. That was a great debut for Omos.
I feel like he's eventually going to be the one that like gets sick of AJ's shit, if that makes any sense, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that would be an interesting face to have a big guy like that's a face.
Yeah, but I think it was a great way to jumpstart his career. He's a tag team champion now. So after the Hall of Fame recap and everything, you've got the cage match with Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman. Jerry Lawler is a guest on commentary. Why? Is there a reason?
I'm trying to think.
It just felt there was no, like, maybe he had a couple of like stupid jokes in his back pocket he could bust out for this one, because that's the whole crux of the storyline.
They probably didn't want him doing a puppies joke during the main event.
No, you didn't want that.
Right.
The straw man. Braun strawman argument, looking real cut here, by the way.
I did love his entrance, though, with the steam coming out, like the steam train.
The train going along.
Not the train noise.
No.
I'm going to get that out of the way.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, we've not heard the choo-choo sound. Jackson Riker and Elias are ever present in this thing. They jump Strowman with chairs at the beginning. They beat up his leg. Right. Shane whomping Strowman with the chair at first. He grabs a piece of the cage deck, which seems like it's a very, like, ooh, you're kind of nervous about the construction of this cage. If Shane's able to go, yoink, here's this platform someone to just stand on.
So the whole entire match, I was kind of, nervous, like, what's Strowman going to do to mess this match up? Like who's fallen in what bad direction or whatever. I just wasn't sure what was about to go down.
Yeah, which gimmicked part of the cage is going to break.
Right. I was thinking like that Greatest Royal Rumble Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns finish. I thought maybe that was going to happen at one moment too. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, now that you mentioned that, I forgot about that finish, so you just said it. Because I think maybe that's the reason they didn't do that this time. Because I was totally predicting, Braun's going to screw up and Shane's going to win somehow by accident. But the way you mentioned that, it's like, oh yeah, that was pretty recent. It was more recent than I thought it was. Right. So they can't replicate it that soon. But yeah, I think it was just crazy. Let's talk about Shane's incredible dive. I mean, I think over the weekend only one person's jumping off.
Hold on, kayfabe, brother, kayfabe. You mean his throw from Strowman?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a very thing where it's like he threw up and he still had the wherewithal to do a perfect flip and land on his back. That bump, the bump in slow motion looks so disgusting.
So nasty.
Yeah, but there's only one person diving off that pirate ship this weekend, and it's not Shane. I think Kevin Owens drew the long straw of that one.
Right.
Yeah, what do you think of that fall he took, though?
Ouch. Like I said, I think he might be on ibuprofen for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous
right.
bump. And then, like, when Strowman was, like, climbing back into the ring, I thought, here it comes.
Right.
He's going to slam him. He's going to fucking through the wall, whatever. He's going to slip on a banana.
Well, I thought he was going to do the power slam from the top of the cage was what I thought. I thought he was going to like sit on the top and like lift him up and just put him on his shoulder and then just dive off and boom, and it was over.
No, Braun's not taking that bump. He's not taking that on his knees.
To the knees.
You kidding that?
Well, he's got long pants on.
Yeah, right. I'm sure it's all... He's got the crash pads, the air pads that come out when they land on the table. Can you just imagine that? Strowman's like, his knees just like swell to the back.
Oh, God.
Power slam to Shane for the emphatic victory. For a match, Jay, I had absolutely no interest in going into it. They won me over. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Yeah, you're right. I didn't have any interest really going into this match. In fact, I was just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought for sure that Dabba-Kato or something was going to come back and help him out from the Raw Underground thing or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't
costing the match or something.
Right. I was like, how is this make any sense? Because Shane's like a 50-year-old dude, and Braun Strowman looks like, I'm sorry, but like you said, he looks like he's in maybe the best shape of his freaking life right now.
Yeah. So, I mean I think I was just relieved that, like, Strowman won and we didn't get the bullshit Shane wins.
Right.
Like, we got so much when he feuded with The Miz, for example. I'm so glad we didn't get a repeat of that. And so that's what made it a bigger deal for me and a better match over. Like, oh, thank God. Like, we didn't get the frustrating thing.
Right.
There was really, like, again, except for the opener with Drew and Lashley, there was nothing on this show that I thought, oh man, like, that's the wrong move. Like, that's just designed to piss people off.
Right.
I felt like this was just kind of a happy show. In your semi-main event, you get the in-ring debut of Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against John Morrison and The Miz. And let's talk about the crowd of bunnies, the bunny hops.
With one ear.
Yeah, so many. What? Who's putting those helmets together? The ears kept falling off every three guys.
The budget costs or something like they just must have just gone to budget and been like, you know what? Like 6 or 7 of the bunnies can have one ear. Fuck it.
I'm sorry. We had to spend too much money on the LED thing covering the upper deck, and we had to cut the money somewhere. So whatever glue.
So one of the bunnies got the ear cut.
Whatever glue got the got short end of the stick on that one. Yeah, we got some just straight up close-ups of bunnies hopping around with the one ear. Like, they're not even trying, and they're doing this whole thing where it's for Miz and Morrison to do to lip sync their rap number.
Hey there, hop hop.
Hey there, hop hop. I love that. Hey there, hop hop. And it makes me wonder how many developmental guys, how many future NXT and North American champions were under those bunny helmets. How many former NXT champions were under those bunny helmets.
I hope Cena was in one of those.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would someone really conspicuous. I would have loved to have seen Mark Henry in the suits.
Dear Lord. So what amazed me actually with this debut of Bad Bunny was that, he started the match. He actually started the match and worked almost like he almost worked like AJ Styles did earlier in the evening in a handicap match.
Right, he did most of the work, which I thought was so impressive because we see celebrities get 1 or 2 shots in and they powder out or something. And even with Omos, he was a thing that was saved for the very end of the match. Whereas here, Bad Bunny was the workhorse.
He was.
He and Miz and Morrison all worked really well here. And, I didn't see any screw-ups. Didn't see any botches.
Botches at all.
It was really well done. He looked really athletic.
And Miz, honestly, I loved his facials during this match. Because whenever Bad Bunny would do a move to him that was academic or something, and he's just like, what's going on? How is this happening to me?
Great character work by Miz and Morrison here. And like I've been saying, every week they have saved this feud for me and made it worth watching.
Am I the only one that thinks that John Morrison looks like Brian Pillman Jr. with his hair all done like that?
Yeah, when he wears it high like that, he definitely resembles the Pillman Jr. mold from last year.
Right.
For sure. But Bunny was all over the place. He did the flying head scissors. He did the big tornado DDT. He did. Stereo broken arrows by he and Priest at one point.
Yes.
And Bunny does a dive too. Damian does a dive. Bunny does a dive. And then this is I thought the flying head scissors was the Sports Center moment. No, the Canadian Destroyer or the Bunny Destroyer, the Puerto Rican Destroyer.
No. He called it the San Juan Sunrise.
Yeah, it was amazing. He just nailed that. Take that, Penta. Finally, Doomsday Crossbody. Bad Bunny wins. There was no doubt, but I think you and I agree. The match went a lot different than we all kind of expected it to.
Yeah, I thought Priest was going to be the workhorse, honestly.
Right.
I really thought they were going to do that with him.
History dictates that's what happens. The guest does, the actual wrestler, the full-timer, does the heavy lifting.
Right.
And then it's the star who, gets some of the credit, the cleanup work. Nope. It was the opposite.
And you know what? Hey, also, Damian Priest, I have to reference this. He's wearing the Shawn Michaels 1992,
he
vest.
Had
with, the chains and stuff, I
was waiting for somebody dressed like Sherry Martel to come out with him.
Right. That's hilarious.
I gotta admit, his entrance was kind of underwhelming for me this year. I was expecting he'd light the thing and you'd see the fire spread and maybe take up the boat.
Right.
That would have been cool. They really underutilized the boat, the big pirate ship in the set. We've not talked enough about the set. What did you think of the pirate ship and all that stuff?
I like it. I mean, obviously the flags were a bad idea because of the wind and stuff like that.
I was impressed because I saw pictures on Twitter of them just flowing to shit and everything.
Right.
But they kept them tied down, so it was impressive.
Somehow, some way. But yeah, I mean, I think that the setup was really cool. I'm hoping for a Paul Burchill run in tomorrow, or zip in,
right?
Or swinging.
Everyone wants Becky Lynch to show up. No, it's Paul Burchill. He's the one people want to see on this part. Can we get him and can we get Kairi Sane and PCO to show up and just tell Rock these pirate gimmicks?
That's great.
But yeah, for a non-athlete, I thought Bad Bunny, for who's not full-time, who's not an athlete, Bad Bunny.
Hey, kudos to him. He won me over on this match.
He put in the work, man. He's, no lazy part-timer, no lazy celebrity. Again, the bar for celebrities in the last year or two for wrestling has seriously been raised. And that was probably one of the better celebrity matches I've seen, especially at WrestleMania. And then finally, the main event that was announced last night on Friday. This is going to be the main event. Sasha Banks defending the Smackdown Women's title against Bianca Belair. Jay, this move that they announced really at the 11th hour drew a lot of different opinions about the whole thing. And my opinion is, I'm glad for them that they were the main event on this night. I think they delivered a hell of a match worthy of the main event. And I dare say a better main event if we're talking about Mania female main events than the last one we had at 35.
Right.
I would say it's better than the triple threat we saw. It's the rush job of it. That was the one problem I had. Because at no point from when Bianca won the Rumble to now do they treat it like a main event.
The video hype package did a really good job of putting Belair over. They did 2 full songs during the package, and they were all very powerful.
I wish they didn't lose as much as they did in the build-up. I think that was the biggest problem. And so, yeah, the SmackDown on Friday was taped, and so like they couldn't fit in. By the way, it's the main event now. Like they announced on Monday it was Drew and Bobby, and they changed it on Friday.
Right. It was a little catty.
Yeah, it was just, it seemed kind of chaotic, and like again, I get why they did it, and also in hindsight, Drew being the first one out there, and they even explained on commentary because he was the one who carried the banner. So this is his reward was the phrase they used.
Right.
So I get that. And I don't have a problem with them swapping the matches like that or making that distinction. But at the 11th hour, that was just bad timing.
Okay, so one thing I did notice is when she came out, it had the EST of NXT on the entranceway, and I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, she's still NXT? Or are they just, maybe is that their way of getting the NXT logo on WrestleMania?
I guess, like, she's been on the main roster for a year. She showed up after the last WrestleMania.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I guess you're right. Now that put thought to that, yeah, it's been that long.
So yeah, that was a clear, and it's like the graphics, whatever, but I mean, it's right there, dead center. EST of NXT. She's been the EST of WWE for a year. That was a bit of a issue of foresight and a bit of lack of quality control. But I mean, that was the one real error I saw in this match was just the graphic.
Right.
Did you notice how Bianca was already tearing up before they even walked
as
up?
The announcements were going, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a powerful moment, if you think about it. I mean, like, I've thought about that as a ring announcer. Like, if I ever got signed by WWE and, I was to announce, like, WrestleMania's main event or something, that's the pinnacle of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing bigger. So, like, would I, as a, someone who does that kind of thing, be like, this is it, and kind of cheer up, choke up a little bit right before announcing the main event,
I felt that, honestly, like wrestling the Cow Palace, I had that feeling. It's rare to find a lot of emotion in WWE, like genuine emotion. But we saw that more than once on this show. We saw it with Drew McIntyre. He was looking choked up during his entrance. We see it in Bianca's face here. You could see Sasha was also trying to hold back on that. But yeah, it's rare to find genuine emotion, even for WrestleMania.
Right.
So I thought we saw a bit of it on the show.
Yeah, it was kind of odd at the beginning, obviously, because I mean both girls were faces going into this.
I think Sasha's more of a heel.
Well, no, what I'm saying is at the beginning of all this, Sasha was a face.
Yeah.
And so they transitioned her into it, kind of like with the Edge thing, I guess.
Yeah, very gradual.
So gradual. So all I'm saying is that, like, I think that a lot of fans were kind of conflicted, because it's like Sasha really, I mean, to be honest with you, people love the fact that she took that belt off of Bayley and stuff, Yeah. I mean, so I mean, like, she was kind of beloved when she all of a sudden...
Yeah, no,
Reginald started hanging around.
Yeah, I think Sasha was definitely the heel by the end of this thing, even though she hadn't really done anything different about her character. But what I thought was interesting was the dueling chants that we saw, like as the match began, pro Sasha, pro Bianca. I mean, just the organic crowd noise, and just different from that white noise we hear in the Thunderdome was, I think, really cool. And even if it wasn't consistent, and even if it was quieter at some parts throughout the show than others, it was just cool to know that it was there. Oh yeah, Sasha dives to the outside, doesn't kill herself. That's got to be a first. That felt like it was a big wave of relief.
And not one landed Meteora in this contest.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh my lord, it's like every other move usually.
There's been a period of time where Sasha is kind of like the Meteora as her V trigger, where she just kind of hits it, or her super kick, where she'll hit it a whole bunch of times. And she went for it a few times in this match, and just didn't hit any of them. That was really surprising. So Bianca was protected from the Meteora. That's how significant she is to the plans.
I guess so.
But yeah, Bianca rolling through from the dive, picking her up, pressing her, and going up the steps, and tossing her in.
That looked cool.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was just and then she's showing her strength throughout, really showing the goods, showing what brought her to the dance and what makes her so popular and interesting.
And then she breaks the #1 freaking rule: no slaps.
Oh yeah, when was the slap?
With her hair.
No, was...
I think it's kind of funny, Brian, how I mentioned before, I'm surprised that the girls haven't utilized Bianca Belair's hair more for matches. And almost as soon as I said that,
what do we see?
Right, Sasha just starts using it for everything possible, even the bank statement.
Yeah, the story of this was Sasha going for the hair, and it's like, it's kind of rare that you'd think that would be more of a tactical thing in more of Bianca's matches, but I guess they kind of wanted to wait for it for this match because they used it like at least 3 times in different spots, including the end. There was a bank statement with the hair assist, and then they're doing a tug of war at the end, and finally you've got that moment where Bianca whips the hair, and she only does it once. And talk about the power of the hair whip, because remember,
look at that line across her belly.
In NXT, she did that a lot. That was kind of her thing. That was like part of her routine, and she did less and less. I don't think I've seen her do it once on the main roster, except for like once to Zelina Vega.
Save it.
She saved it, and so she only did it once. She didn't have to do a whole bunch of times. Once was enough, and the crowd just lit up when they did that. Did you hear that pop for that? And the welt it made was also pretty surreal.
Nasty.
Big flippity flips around until the KOD. Bianca wins. She's the SmackDown Women's Champion. And what a way to end the show. What a moment. And I'm kind of glad we didn't get like Becky Lynch to like ruin the moment after like a return, because that's been kind of rumored. So Bianca gets her moment in the sun. What do you think about the match? What do you think about Bianca as champion?
The match was great. I thought it was good. Told a great story. I knew Bianca was going to eventually win it. It went as I would have predicted.
Yeah.
It's exactly as I would have predicted. Great match. Good match.
Absolutely.
And as we mentioned, maybe even better as far as a female main event than 35.
Yeah, let us know what you think about that comparison in the comments. So as you've noticed, we haven't been doing star ratings for these matches. I think just overall, I think we were just so happy that WrestleMania was here and there was a crowd. There was a feeling of elation among us and Chris as we were watching this.
Right.
I wasn't too preoccupied with like rating the matches. I was just kind of like I was watching,
just taking the moment.
Yeah, taking the moment, taking notes, and just kind of getting my feeling after each match. But we will do final grades at least. So Biggs, I'm going to ask you first, what's your letter grade for night 1 of WrestleMania 37?
A very strong B+ is what I'm going to go with, and only because it was kind of a weird start. And so, the Rain was the major heel of the evening. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, like, there were certain things I thought they might do, but they didn't. And certain things that went really good that I thought weren't going to go well. So I don't want to give it a complete A+ or anything. I think a B+ is straight, because all the matches really pretty much delivered. There was nothing that sucked.
Yeah, there wasn't a bad match.
I wasn't a fan of the female gauntlet match.
Yeah, I mean, it was the least interesting. It was the least built, so I don't blame you. I think, again, the crowd made it special. The rain delay made it insane, and just feel like anything can happen at WrestleMania. Anything can happen in WWE.
Right.
So that was an interesting factor. I think the lowest point for me, was just like how getting back into it after the rain and starting off with Lashley and Drew, which was fine, and then the finish of it really soured me. I thought that was a really bad look for Drew. Right. But I mean, he'll bounce back. I'm sure they'll edit in. They'll do a CGI Kane thrown in there or something.
Yeah, right. Oh, dear God.
Every match told a very different story. There was at no point did I think, oh, this match is too similar to that match. Everything was different.
Right.
Everything had like its own story and its own life. I really enjoyed that. I think for the most part, all the right people won. Like, it was just a really feel-good vibe about a lot of this show. The familiar tropes, the frustrating tropes I mentioned, like, oh, this person's going to cost themselves the match for celebrating too much. Like Tamina going for the splash. Like Braun, going for that power slam afterward. It was like a feeling of dread. And they didn't go with those. They went against my worst fears in these things.
Right.
And they presented like the right results, like the positive results. And I think that's what we really needed, especially after everything, and really WrestleMania 36 kind of being a weird thing. This feels back more to normal, and I really appreciated that.
Right, absolutely does.
But that is just night 1 of WrestleMania 37.
We're back tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to be doing the same thing tomorrow. What did you think of night 1? Let us know in the comments section. What was your favorite match, your least favorite match, if there was one? What do you think about Bianca being the new SmackDown Women's Champion? Cesaro's big win. So much to talk about on this show. Every match delivered a moment, and I think that's what's really important for a show like this, to back with a bang. So hopefully night 2 can keep that momentum going. There's a lot of big, if they could do what they did with this card on this night, then imagine how they can take it to the next level with night 2.
Right. Well, also how they can screw it up.
Yes, that is also true. We must not forget who we're talking about here. So let us know your thoughts on Mania 37, night 1 in the comments, and we'll see you here again tomorrow for night 2. I'm Brian Zane and Jay Biggs. We will see you next time.